Today's practice is all about resilience and freedom. So I want you to consider that as we move through our very grounded pose today. Most of what you'll see will be closer to our mat. So have a couple blocks close by and your strap, and let's enjoy. Let's sit just in easy pose, one shin in front of the other. Let's actually start with the leg that feels most unnatural to you. So I'm going to put my left leg in front of my right, or my left shin. Sit up nice and tall. Rest the hands wherever it feels natural. So you can drop them down in the center, you can drop them down onto the knees. Take a couple of breaths. Now right away I go into that space around the eyebrows. That's where I tend to want to hold my tension. So I'm just going to open them up as I breathe and let them soften. Consider where that is for you, or what places that is for you, and just do that now. Take one more breath. As you slowly open your eyes, I want you to think about the position that we're going to be in. So I want you to kind of turn slightly towards, so if I'm looking at the front of my mat, I'm just kind of slightly turning my body towards that left corner of the front of my mat, just so that when we go into these next movements, you'll be able to feel like you have enough mat space to stay on it. Okay, so when I talked about resilience and freedom, I want you to think about now some resilience in your hips. Okay, so we're coming into more of like a 90-90 position. So I've got my shin, kind of my right shin looking, again, like I said, towards that left corner of the front of my mat. And now my right shin looking that way, and my left shin looking towards maybe the left corner of my mat. Okay, so let's open that space up for the hips. Utilize any of the variations that you're going to need to. So if you need to use your hands for support, then do that. If you feel like you can transition, because what we're going to do is we're going to transition back and forth in this 90-90 position. So if you feel like you can do that without the support of the hands, then do that. If you feel like you even need to use your blocks to help you to walk back and forth, then do that. Okay, because again, we're all starting from somewhere, so we need to figure out where we're at, create that baseline, so as we move through this practice, and as you continue to do it maybe multiple times, you'll be able to see what kind of growth has happened, or again, just how you feel. Even if you're still using the supports, maybe you start to feel a little bit different, a little bit more confident in the movement itself. Okay, so have your blocks close by if you need them. I'm going to demo actually first with them. Okay, so we can go through a little bit slower. Feel a sense of that hugging in around the waist. Okay, so that again, already you're going to create some strength. This movement, you don't want to just think about the feet or the legs moving, but your body, or your, around the area of the core. That's the word we resonate with. But all of this area in the torso that carries us safely as we tone it by drawing in and imagine kind of hugging in and around the organs. Okay, so grab your blocks. You're going to think about flattening the feet. So right now you can see that your soles are facing out. So you're going to think about, as you come up and lift both knees, like I said, use the blocks if you need to. So press them down into the floor. So you're kind of like taking them, as like these little walkers or crutches with you to kind of move back and forth. And you're going to feel yourself shifting, like I mentioned. So you're going to maybe feel like you're a little bit off of the mat. Remember to breathe as you go. I feel like I'm coming off a little bit, so I'm going to set myself or move back a little bit more. Okay, maybe you start to use the blocks a little bit less as you feel more comfortable. Still keeping that sense of length and openness in the chest. Okay, so if you're not using your blocks, maybe you're using your hands as a little counterbalance. So I'm just lacing my fingers and pressing them out. So you can see now as I move, yes, I'm kind of creeping more towards off of and to the back of my mat. That's fine. Just pick yourself up if you feel like you need to stay on that space. Maybe a little bit more control in the waist. And now let's just add on. So this time as we come to one side, see if you can feel like you can push the hips and lift and kind of thrust them forward, sinking back down. If that's not a possibility for you, then by all means, stay with your blocks, stay with just moving them side to side and the hands out. So sorry, I kind of creeped my foot off the floor that time, but we're leaving them. You can already start to feel that sense of activity happening. Maybe the heart rate is also lifting and warming. You can take your time. If you do want to try that and you want to take the blocks to help you to lift up, then by all means do that, right? Walk them through, use the blocks for a little leverage, keeping the feet down the whole time. Maybe going through a little bit slower. I was getting excited, so I'm going a little faster. But again, doing what feels appropriate. Let's add on as we lift and thrust through the hips. So if I'm facing now with my right leg back, my left leg forward, I'm going to take my left hand down and lift my right arm up and just reach. Take a breath. Sink it down. Move across to the other side. Thrust the hips. Right hand down, left arm up. One more time on each side. So there's that sense of freedom that if you really kind of come into and find your groove, you can just move and stretch and breathe. Okay, take that hand down, the left hand down. Come back now into cat-cow. So I'm already feeling very warm, which is good. Tuck the toes under, open the chest, lift the heart, push the floor away, lengthen the spine, lengthen the arms, and drop the tailbone down. Spread through the shoulder blades. Inhale, open. Drop the belly down, lift the chest. Cat position, push. Inhale into your cow. One more time. Good, walk the hands forward. Push back into downward facing dog. Right leg up, inhale. Step it forward. Take the back heel down. Grab both of your blocks so you can have them in front of you. Take the feet so that they're parallel or that the big toes just kind of creep in towards one another a little bit more. Okay, so just find whatever feels comfortable for you. I'm going to take the blocks and walk them out. Take them at any height that you need to, but try them maybe on the lowest height first if that feels comfortable for you. If that's not accessible at all, by all means, just make sure you allow yourself a little bit more support, maybe around the waist if you've got them a little bit higher, because they're just on a little thinner surface, obviously. So you just want to make sure that you have that safety and stability there. But if you feel comfortable to take them to the lower height, do so. Walk them way out. Imagine going into downward dog with your legs or your feet wide like this. So the blocks are just a little further away. Feel a little sense of pressing down into the blocks, and you might feel now the backs of the shoulders or even in the lats. So those muscles that are just kind of on the outside of your back, you'll see, or you'll feel, they're not just on the outside, but you'll probably feel them in that area just below the shoulders, since they connect all the way up into the humerus. But you'll kind of feel them turning on a little bit if you're pressing down into the block gently. And just allow the head to relax. One more breath. Slowly come forward or shift forward. Take one hand down at a time. Turn yourself towards the front of your mat. So pivot your feet and then take the back knee down. You're just in a low lunge briefly. Fingertips down. If you need to take the blocks with you, just grab them, bring them with you. Now just sweep that right leg back. Come on down to the belly. Shift forward. So we're going to take that little chaturanga. Take the shoulders back, bend the elbows, and then all the way down to the belly. Untuck the feet. Sweep the hands back, and then we're going to lift the belly. Lift the feet, lift the chest. Again, feel that hugging in around the waist. We're coming into Shalabhasana or locust here. Feel the fingertips reaching back towards the direction of the feet. Very active throughout the thighs and the chest, and even the shoulders, the rear shoulders. And sweep it down. Sweep the hands forward. Tuck the toes under. Bring the hands back so that they're by the chest. Push back, downward dog. Left leg up this time. Inhale. Exhale, step it through. Walk again so that your feet are nice and wide. This time, instead of taking that downward dog type position, you're going to take the right hand down in towards the center of the chest, lift the left arm up. And if you feel the hips kind of sneaking to the left, just sneak them back slightly to the right. Push the floor away. And just replace the hands. Press down, inhale. This time hips, they might sneak right, sneak them slightly left. So they feel slightly more centered. Take it down. Walk your hands back now towards the front of your mat. Take the back knee down, fingertips into that low lunge, open the chest. Take a breath. Tone the waist by hugging in. Sweep that left foot back. Okay, come into that modified chaturanga. Hug and turn the arms in. Exhale as you come down. Down to the belly. Sweep the hands. Lift the feet. Lift the chest. If you're feeling a lot of compression in the lower back, drop the feet down and maybe just lift just slightly through the upper body instead. And if you want to add that in, again, feel that hugging in and support around the torso. And let it all go. Okay, push back. This time come into child's pose. Swing the hips through. Come on back. And we're actually going to come in now into pigeon. So remember that you have option to take the variation on your back, where you can cross the right ankle to the left thigh. And maybe it's just staying here with the foot down, if that's all your body allows you at this time. If you want, you can draw that left knee in towards you, keeping the right knee pushing down to or pushing out away from the belly. Take the right hand in between the legs, left hand on the outside. Lace the fingers under the thigh or lace them above the left shin. And you can stay here for your pigeon option. Okay, and of course it would be the same thing on the other side. But if you want the other option or other variation, we're going to come into downward facing dog. And we're just going to sweep that right leg through, right knee to right wrist. Okay? Let go of the toes in the left leg. If you feel like there's too much space between your right butt cheek and the floor, then you can take a block underneath you like this and just kind of press or slide it in underneath the right butt cheek. Now again, that resilience, that opening, that breath as you open and show off the chest. That length, imagine it going right through the big toe in the back leg. We're feeling that open sensation, that outer rotation of the right thigh and that inward rotation of the left thigh. We're just feeling that simultaneously. If you want to come down to the forearms, take a breath out, come down. These are all, again, stages that you can work through. Just each time breathing into a little bit more freedom in the hips. Drop the head down to the block if that feels good. Any height. Or you can take the forehead all the way down. It can feel super tense and it can feel like you want to resist it. But again, remember that the hips, or that you, not even just the hips, but that you are resilient and that you have that ability inside you. So unless it feels like it's not right, which then you'll know that too. But if you feel like you can take another breath there, take that other breath. Allow that freedom, allow yourself that freedom to open up more. And then bring it back. Push back. Maybe take a little wiggle of the hips. Okay, downward facing dog. And then slide that left knee to left wrist, dropping the hips, letting go of the top of the foot, or letting go of that turning of the toes. Okay, again, if you need to slide for support, slide that block underneath. So you feel that your front hip bones are kind of really on an even, like an even plane. Okay, they're looking forward. One hip isn't creeping up higher than the other. You've got them fairly even. You're using maybe a little support here. Inhale. Imagine yourself just kind of soaring in the sky. That length, the opposing rotations of the thighs. Bring it down. And it's always with your breath, so as you change variations, always think about that exhale allowing you to sink down or transition into the next phase. But even if you're staying with one particular variation, again, allow yourself to stay in the breath, to move you through maybe another sensation within the same variation. Maybe you feel a little bit more comfortable, more at ease. And that breath out is just guiding me down closer. ready, walk yourself back. Swing that back leg through. Take your block with you. Come onto your back. Let's come into bridge with some support of the block. Low height. Let's take it there first. Feel slight length through the back of the neck, but still space enough that those fingers can creep through and that hand space still fits behind the neck. And then lift the hips. You can turn the block, again resting on the sacrum, flat part on the back of the pelvis, just above the butt crack. Again, if this feels okay, you can take that height. I'm just doing a little check-in with my feet just to make sure that they're not wider than about hip width apart, so I can just tickle the back of my heels slightly. And remembering that you can take the shoulder blades down more in the direction of the heels. You can take the block a little higher if it allows you. But we're not trying to do it just for the sake of doing it. We're doing it if it feels like it's serving us. So I've really got my shoulder blades coming together to allow for more of that openness in the chest. And then just get ready to drop it down to the next height if you need to. Again, just to ease your way back down. And then gently lift the hips. Lose the block. Slowly come down. Take a little windshield wipe. Let the knees fall together to one side and then the other. And then just making that movement a little bit smaller. Imagine the skull resting just gently and just feeling soft on the mat. So you come back into a centered position. Take the legs all the way out. Take a moment to maybe just be a little grateful for how you were able to move the hips. Stay a little bit more grounded in this practice, not just physically, but also emotionally. And I hope that there was a little bit more sense of freedom for you as you move today on your mat. And also into the rest of whatever it is that you're doing. So stay with your Shavasana. Stay present. And stay free. Namaste.